Good morning. Uh, I'm EP. It was a big week and, like, I did kind of go to bed, like, a tad late. Oh no, not EP. No, good EP, though. Where I actually get sleep and not just I feel like I haven't slept. Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry, I had to check something real quick. Now Twitch is saying we've got low bitrate again. Because of fucking course it is. But yeah. It's just been, this week's been, the last, like, 2 weeks, honestly, have been a lot. There's a lot of shit happening. Which, good stuff in terms of work and for me and whatnot, but it's tiring. So yeah, I had a couple of drinks last night and, went to bed at about 1:30, 2 o'clock, which is, like, around the usual time I go to bed for that thing, but yeah, I don't know. I just got flattened. Hello, Volvix. That's weird. Am I still streaming at the same bit rate? Looks like it. Okay. It's weird. I had a little bit of internet hiccups yesterday when I was watching some YouTube stream, but it seemed to be only affecting the stream, so I was thinking it's probably not an actual issue, but I'm getting, like, packet drops that aren't on the stream stuff? It's weird. No. All the more reason to get stuck into this quickly, so I don't encounter, problems. And yeah, we might be finishing this today. It seemed like we were close. The whole thing is coming to a head at the moment. We've gained possession of all of the curse. In fact, let's like jump back in and figure out where the fuck I was. Right. I was asked, I felt like we were on the verge of finishing for like the past 3 streams, personally. Nah, not the last stream maybe, but the couple before that, like, nah. We were still kind of, like, buried deep in stuff. And then I got asked this question, and I have no fucking idea how to do this. Like, what if I just don't pick? Guess it makes sense for such an important document to be sealed so tight. Might help to talk things over with Mio if I get stuck. Yeah, that's a good idea. It won't explode or anything, so we might as well give it a try. I see. Okay. Is that really all you have to say? Okay. I guess I'll just give it a shot then. I'm just gonna pick. don't think that was right. Nope. No good. Do you recognize any of the things on these seals? They look sort of familiar. Maybe there'd be something in our files? I see. Okay. Sure, okay. So, let's go back to the seals. So these are all curses. The reed, the taiko drum, the beech leaf, the light, the carp. Well, actually, I don't know about the carp. So you've got the light, the beech, the drum, the reed, and then the carp is kind of an outlier. I guess we could talk about them in the order we got them, but then I don't know where the carp fits into this. So, we got the beech first, then the light. I think we got the drum and the reed at the same time because, Ayame, yeah. Because Ayame had both. Oh, seals look like some of the Curse Stones designs. That must mean there's some order to the 7 mysteries of Honjo that correspond to them. I see, okay. Is it the mysteries themselves, then? But there's no carp, right? Is the carp the canal? Oh, yeah, no, it is the carp. Oh, so maybe that's it. Maybe if we go the order we encountered them? So that would be carp, beech, light, drums, reed? Oh, order we encountered them. Hold on a second. Carp. Oh, beckoning light. That was like one of the last ones, I think. Carp. No, carp, beech, reed, taiko, light, I think. Alright, Mio, what have you got? Seal was applied during the Edo period, so it probably has to do with the events that took place around then. So it's got to do with the tales in each of them. Toki loved fishing with her father, Jinkichi, more than anything. With their wicker baskets on their backs. They would leave for the canal every morning and fish till the evening. The miso soup her mother, Koma, made using the carp they caught was to die for. Her parents loved her dearly. One day, however, her father disappeared. Toki's mother went to look for him and never came back either. Those who came to express their concern eventually stopped visiting her out of fear. Toki continued to wait all alone. Mother, father, where did you go? Don't leave me behind. Unable to bear the loneliness, she left her home and trudged along the roads until night fell. Neither her mother nor father were anywhere to be found. Tears stung her eyes. Suddenly, the sound of the fish splashing in the water cut through the silence. She found herself standing before the canal where they used to fish together. The taste of carp and the memory of her father's smile flashed across her mind. Without thinking, Toki walked into the moat. The sound of water splashing echoed throughout the night air. Passers-by thought it only thought of it only as the fish in the canal. Splashing faded, and silence returned to the lonely night. Got the light. Vague silhouette is framed by silvery moonlight near the bridge. It is a man hunched over, near death, with regret carved on his face. Visions of the past flash through his mind. Memories of the young couple and their daughter, but... Oh. Oh, hold on a second. So this explicitly... Get our trusty friend Notepad up here. Notepad. There we go. Oh, let me grab... Thank you. Okay, so... We know that at the very least it's canal and then light. Based on that. Memories of the young couple and their daughter, but he has lost everything. He had repaid the kindness shown to him with evil. The regret gnaws at him now. It is too late to undo it. His mind turns to the Onmyoji woman. It was all her doing. No, the blame laid with him and his inexperience. He had foolishly involved himself with the forbidden, inviting evil into his life. Should have left the Rite of Resurrection well enough alone. The light of the man's life begins to fade as regret and anger wash over him in turns. If only I had accomplished it in the end. Alas, it's too late for that now. I am prepared for hell. Perhaps in another life I can fulfill my dreams. Even if this body perishes, I can atone for my sins. Which sounds to me like it's the last one, but there really isn't anything beyond that. The beach. Deceived us with his so-called Rite of Resurrection. The man who tricked the people with his false dark arts swings from a rope. They thought the man had escaped the previous night, but oddly enough, he was found hanging in the garden of the daimyo's mansion that morning. The man, a local named Jinkichi... Oh. Hold on. Jinkichi. Fuck. Okay. Right. So, beach happens before canal. Why did I... Yeah, there we go. Might as well make it as wide as I actually make the notepad. Cool. They thought the man had escaped the previous night, but oddly enough, he was the man, a local named Jinkichi, was known for his kind temperament and skill in crafting Netsuke clasps. While his life wasn't always easy, he was optimistic, the type to smile through whatever life threw at him. He was the kind of man who would take care of those who didn't have anyone else to rely on. The prosperity that the ukiyo-e boom brought must have been what fanned the flames of his greed. The old craftsman was found in a miserable state, as if sentenced to some cruel fate. Perhaps he'd ended his own life, unable to bear the weight of his crime. But dead men tell no tales, and people thought of him as a bad man even in death. He hung there for days, till his neck stretched horrifically, a visage of pain still etched on his face. It was clear he must have struggled greatly as he died, his flesh marked with dark scars where the rope wrapped around his whole body. The beech tree's leaves do not fall, and neither did the man's body hanging from it, as the mansion's owner was not at home. Another unfortunate event. The people held their tongues, fearing divine punishment, but the rumors persisted nonetheless. Taiko. The deep sound of drums once more reverberates through the night air. How long has it been since we started hearing them each day? Could it be coming from the daimyo's residence? I've heard they have a drum in their fire watchtower instead of wooden clackers, but I don't see a fire, so why are they sounding the drum? Then one morning, a body was found. Isn't that old man Kanzo, the ukiyo-e painter? He lived nearby, but had been down and out for years, despite his best efforts to sell his works. Every now and then, his granddaughter would visit, and he would teach her to paint. It was the old man's only pleasure. One day, the granddaughter told him about her dreams, curses, souls, resurrection. Hearing her tale, the old man was gripped by a sudden zeal and began to paint with great fervor. His work quickly became famous, enchanting all those who viewed the strange imagery. Even the daimyo had taken notice. What could possibly have happened? People whispered amongst each other. It looked almost as if he had been beaten like a drum. It doesn't really tell me much. Although, if it was at the daimyo's residence, then it's possible that this was near where the beach was. But that doesn't really tell me anything about the time. The only real thing I've got to go on is Old Man Kanzo. So, I reckon it's beach, car, light so far. I don't know where the drum goes. Can we glean anything from the reed? The reed seems like the last one to me, just because it's like, its whole tale is kind of... Oh, but, the reed must... If the reed was the killing of this girl's mother, then surely this would have preceded the canal, right? Because her mother and father go missing, which we know they ended up dying. And then it's canal, and then it's light. Karma was a lovely woman. She was spirited, worked hard, and lived a frugal yet pleasant life until her husband hanged himself. Okay, so this was after the beach. So it would be beach, reed, canal, light. Reed, canal, light. Karma was determined to clear her husband's name. That is when she met Tomezo, a man that was a stranger to these parts. This man must be one of the daimyo's spies. It appears that after my husband, I will be next. So be it. But what is he hunting for? Okama put on the airs of a woman mourning her husband. Went to the bridge nightly. Excuse me. Went to the bridge nightly to seek information from Tomezo. She soon discovered that she was right, and that her husband had been deceived. Okama decided... Oh, wait. Sorry. Okama? Old Man Okama? Oh no, Old Man Kanzo. Right. Sorry, Okama was the name of the woman. The mother. Decided to bring her newfound knowledge to the daimyo, much to Tomezo's alarm. Angered at having been misled, he confronted her on the bridge, but Okama would not listen. She cursed him, called him vile names, and eventually his patience had worn thin. Blood splattered everywhere, and by the time he returned to his senses, it was already too late. He looked over the bridge into the river of blood below and saw the corpse of a woman missing both an arm and a leg. Right, so we've got the general gist of events, but the one thing we don't really have a good read on is the drum. It seems to be somewhat disconnected from the rest of this. So it could be last. I mean, it could end up anywhere in the order, but let's go with last. So if we go beach, reed, harp, light, drum. Alright, what else you got me here? I'll look up the resentful memories for the mysteries that correspond to the 5 seals. These are fragments of the dying moments of those who became the curse echoes. Reading closely, doesn't it feel like there's a connection between them? I mean, yes, but again, I don't think there's a connection with the drum. Hold on, let's read this again. The deep sound of drums once more reverberates through the night air. How long has it been since we started hearing them each day? Could it be coming from the daimyo's residence? I've heard they have a drum in their fire watchtower instead of wooden clackers, but I don't see a fire. So why are they sounding the drum? Then one morning, a body was found. It's that old man Kanzo, the ukiyo-e painter. He lived nearby, but had been down and out for years, despite his best efforts to sell his works. Every now and then his granddaughter would visit, and he would teach her to paint. It was the old man's only pleasure. One day, his granddaughter told him about the dreams, curses, souls, resurrection. Hearing her tale, the old man was gripped by a sudden zeal and began to paint. So he became famous, enchanting. Yeah, I don't know where the drum fits into this, honestly. Maybe it's the first one? So if we go drum, beach, reed, harp, light. I'm a genius! That was definitely not just trial and error. Wow, you got it right. It's open. It took 6 tries, but you did it. I hate that was counting. Fuck you. I just needed some time to get warmed up. That's all. Now we can finally read what's written inside. Let's see. Honestly, I would have thought that, Tetsuo dying would have been a bad end. It feels like that was probably avoidable, but Record of Fate's Yin Scroll. It is said that Seiman Tsuchimikado, author of the Record of Fates, wrote the Yin Scroll because he feared that the descendants of those involved in the Honjo incident might become cursed and used in the collection of soul dregs for the Rite of Resurrection. 6 tries would be kind of crazy if this was an written real-life situation, though, to be honest. Yeah. I still feel pretty good about it. The existence of the Yin Scroll was indicated in a postscript added to the Record of Fates, but its whereabouts are currently unknown. It's believed to have been inherited by a descendant of Seiman. The text has been preserved in the form of 2 talismans held by Hajime Yoshimi and Michio Shiraishi. It contains a full account of the Honjo incident, and the following is written in Seiman's hand. I bequeath this soul to the future generations to be used in the event that calamity should arise from this grievous incident. Those who seek to forestall disaster must gather these 3 items in one place to cast my rite of cleansing and expel all rituals and curses in full. My soul, that is my curse echo. My body, that is a living continuation of my bloodline. My spirit, that is my consciousness. Okay, so we could determine the curse echo. That's fine. Living continuation of my bloodline. There are several people that could be. My spirit. Has fucking Seiman been fucking possessing someone this entire time? God damn. During the Edo period, a chain of events that occurred around a certain resurrection spell became the basis for the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. This is a story that takes place in the late Edo period. There was once a family that lived in a row house in Honjo. The family consisted of a Netsuke craftsman named Jinkichi, his wife Koma, and their daughter, Toki. They enjoyed a poor but happy existence. One day they took in a man by the name of That's just not filled in. Name of who? Name of who? Wait! No, hold on! What? Huh? Excuse me? Okay. I don't know if I meant to know that, or if the game is... if that's just legit a bug, because it could be... It could be that, It could be that it's not loading the highlighted text for some reason. That would be my guess, but who claimed to be a Shomoji. He was on the run. Ah, yes, my favorite character. Love that guy. He was on the run, having barely escaped with his life from something or another, and wound up in Honjo. The tough circumstances had left him sick and destitute. Jinkichi felt sorry for the man and decided to shelter him. The stranger was deeply grateful for the kindness and care of Jinkichi's family, as without it he would have surely died, and told them thusly on the day of his departure. I want to give you my thanks, but unfortunately I have nothing of value. He paused, then asked, Is there anyone you want to bring back to life? Girl, they took in a man. Oh no, your shift key is broken. I mean, yeah, Demi Boy is, I think it was a safe bet based on the information, to be fair. It turned out that the man's true name was Tsuchimikado Seiman, a descendant of renowned Onmyoji, and he had been researching the fabled Rite of Resurrection. For his crime in unearthing this forbidden rite, he was chased out by his family, but he wrote down everything about the spell in a book he named the Record of Fates while on the run. Whoever sought to perform the rite would need to kill people and gather their soul dregs. Seiman had only researched the rite out of the spirit of inquiry, but thought himself willing to use the rite if it was for the sake of Jinkichi's family. However, Jinkichi shook his head. Sacrificing someone is unthinkable. We didn't help you because we wanted something in return, so you owe us nothing, he said, declining the unbelievable offer. Seiman bowed his head in gratitude countless times at those words and left their house. In the same area, there lived an ukiyo-e artist known as Old Man Kanzo. His art didn't sell much, but he often looked after Toki while Jinkichi and Koma were out working. Young Toki heard Seiman's talk about the Rite of Resurrection, but, being too young to comprehend it, regaled it to Old Man Kanzo as a story of fiction. Old Man Kanzo, inspired by the story and filled with renewed vigor, put his heart and soul into his next painting. The piece centered around the theme of resurrection. The piece, centered around the theme of resurrection, became an instant hit in town. Jinkichi, being a shrewd businessman, saw an opportunity and jumped on the bandwagon by carving Netsuki connected to Old Man Kanzo's ukiyo-e. He made up stories about his Netsuki, telling the people that their blessings were connected to resurrection, and his business rapidly flourished. That man unknowingly left us a wonderful gift, thought Jinkichi and his family, but they were unaware of the tragedy that would soon unfold. Before long, word of Old Man Kanzo's wonderful ukiyo-e reached the ears of the local daimyo, and he was summoned to the Lord's residence. But what awaited him was not praise, but cruel torture at the hands of Ashino, a female Onmyoji who was in pursuit of Seiman. It was her who pressured Seiman into researching the Rite of Resurrection, which she secretly planned to use to preserve her beauty for all eternity. Put a pin in that. Ashino took advantage of the fact that the daimyo's heart was weak and frail following the loss of his family, and manipulated him into capturing Old Man Kanzo, the source of the recent rumors about the resurrection. Tell me where you heard of the Rite of Resurrection, Ashino demanded, as the brutal beatings continued. It was said that the eerie sound of the beatings rang out like the beating of a taiko drum night after night, reaching even the watchtower of the Tsugaru residence. In the end, Ashino's cruel torture secured her the information on Jinkichi's family and the existence of the Record of Fates. The daimyo sent his chief retainer to bring in Jinkichi, and the torture resumed afresh with the new captive. This time she intended to obtain the whereabouts of Seiman and the location of the Record of Fates. Jinkichi didn't know where Seiman went, but even if he did, he had no intention of telling and suddenly kept his mouth shut. The torture was pushed too far, and Jinkichi was unintentionally killed before he spoke a word. The daimyo had Jinkichi's corpse hanged from a beech tree and declared that, unable to bear the guilt of the crime of deceiving the masses with false rumors of resurrection, Jinkichi had committed suicide. This too was all part of Ashino's plan to send a message to the common folk, especially the increasing number of those who sought out the right for themselves. News of what happened to Jinkichi spread, and people lost interest in the rite, wondering if the stories of resurrection were all but a lie. But rumors that the daimyo's word was perhaps not all that truthful spread quickly when a dancer claimed to have witnessed the chief retainer's cold-blooded handiwork firsthand, and Honjo fell into unrest once more. The chief retainer arrested the girl who proposed the deal to put a stop to the rumors. The girl was to say she just wanted attention and retract her story by saying it was entirely made up. In exchange, she would be given a most wondrous stage to perform on. But when the day came, she was suffocated by the mask prepared for the performance. Unbeknownst to her, the mask had been covered in glue as part of the plan to kill and silence her. Koma never believed for a moment that her husband, Jinkichi, had committed suicide. She was certain someone was behind the death and asked around persistently for names. The names, addresses, and any other information she could find on the people with connections to the daimyo. Sorry, I need to pause for 1 second. How does all this information exist in the scroll? Like, this is a storied, retelling of the entire sequence of events that took place after Sayman left. But we're under the assumption that Sayman wrote the scroll? Well, my point is not the actual length. My point is the actual details. I don't... I don't know if there's actually an answer to that. Off the top of my head, at the very least. The chief retainer would not allow things to escalate any further and had Tomezo, a Ronin who once served as a spy, go after her. However, she turned the table on him, shouting, "It was you who killed my husband, wasn't it?" Confronted with the accusation, Tomezo flew into a blind rage and cut Koma down in broad daylight. Ordered to take responsibility for his failure by committing seppuku, he exposed the daimyo's plot as he disemboweled himself by the lantern of the soba cart used to give coded signals. With both her parents gone through means unbeknownst to her, Toki found herself to be all alone. One day, late at night, she went searching for her parents and met her doom, falling into a canal where she drowned. Meanwhile, the chief retainer had made no headway whatsoever in finding Sayman's whereabouts, and an incensed Ashino decided to set fire to his residence, burning him alive. In truth, all those connected to these events thus far were cursed by Ashino, so that their souls would turn into soul dregs upon death, which she had been collecting. All she needed to perform the rite now was to get her hands on the Record of Fates. Sensing that there was something serious at work behind the recent string of strange events in Honjo, Sayman returned to find that he was too late. He broke down in tears when he learned of the unfortunate and unnatural deaths Jinkichi's family had met. Sayman realized it was the handiwork of Ashino when he found their soul dregs had been collected, and decided he had to prevent any further sacrifices from happening by confronting her on Hoonji Bridge. What ensued was a fierce battle of spells that endured till the break of dawn, though those who did not know any better only saw what they believed to be eerie flashes and supernatural orbs of light. At the end of the long battle, Ashino defeated Sayman and obtained the Record of Fates, but he had placed a curse upon her foot. Ashino dragged her foot, corrupted and horribly inflamed, and sought refuge at the nearby residence of a retainer, and angrily demanded they wash her foot. Ashino died then and there, filled with agony, and her foot cursed and rotten. Sayman too, having sustained serious wounds during their fight, died that day on Honji Bridge, still filled with regret. However, Sayman came back to life. Knowing that there would be enough soul dregs in place during their confrontation, he had prepared a spell that would activate the Rite of Resurrection upon his passing. Feeling that his curiosity was responsible for the terrible tragedy that had unfolded, he was left with a keen understanding of why the Rite of Resurrection was forbidden and became determined to seal it away. Indeed, the reason he'd resurrected himself was for that very purpose. However, he did not know that what had become of the Record of Fates. With nothing to seal away, he instead used the remaining soul dregs to turn 9 of the Netsuke made by Jinkichi into ritual implements to be sealed away in Honjo. He placed this spell so that should someone try to activate the Rite of Resurrection again, all 9 pieces will awaken at once. And to pass the whole truth of these events to future generations, he wrote everything down in the record of Fate's Yin Scroll, and passed it down to his descendants. Meanwhile, the townspeople kept silent about the incidents out of fear of being cursed. However, these occurrences were so strange the gossip about it couldn't truly be contained. Over time, the details became more and more vague as the stories grew into legends, and that is how they came to be called the 7 Mysteries of Honjo. So I have 2 quick things. The canal, the daughter, Fool's Procession, is the story of that woman who got the mask glued to her face. This is the spy that killed himself. Yeah. The Haunting Clappers was, the death of the man who was working for Ashino. The beach was the father. The taiko was the old man. The foot washing mansion was Ashino herself. The one-sided reed was the mother. So then... No, that was the man. That was the one who killed himself. Hold on. Was this? Oh, the beckoning light is Sayman. The beckoning light is Sayman's, I think. A vague silhouette is framed by silvery moonlight near the bridge. It is a man, hunched over near death with regret carved on his face. Yeah, because he like, essentially, like, bled out. Which is appropriate. Like, he turns the curses on, the bearers. I see. What does it say? First is a detailed account of the tragedy surrounding the Rite of Resurrection that occurred in Honjo back in the Edo period. The whole story of what we call the Honjo incident is laid out clearly. That incident was the origin of the 7 Mysteries of Honjo and their curses, right? Yes. The resentment of the victims of the incident turned into curses, which are the curse echoes. Contents are organized like an answer sheet, so it doesn't just give us the information we need. Is there anything else? Yeah, here's what we've been looking for. I bequeath this soul to future generations to be used in the event that calamity should arise from this grievous incident, it says. Oh, was all of this happening? Well, more a precaution. And it continues. Those who seek to forestall disaster must gather these 3 items in one place to cast my rite of cleansing and expel all rituals and curses involved. My soul, that is my curse echo. My body, that is a living continuation of my bloodline. My mind, that is my own consciousness. Wow, so if we gather these 3 things in one place, Sayman's Rite of Cleansing will activate and completely negate the curses and the Rite of Resurrection. You know, okay, sorry. The writing in this game's definitely been weird, and it feels like, it's just like, not literally machine translated, but like, literally translated as opposed to localized. But there's also some weird writing choices here where it's being very verbose about things, but like it chooses a weird character to be verbose about them. Because I feel like at this point, Mio should be the one recognizing, wait, how the fuck are we gonna get his consciousness? That's fucking weird. Whereas like, Aereo is like, oh, so we just need to get those 3 things. And Mio's like, hold on, that's not as simple as you think it is. Because, like, we do have the Echo, and, yeah, maybe we do have someone in his bloodline, but we need his literal spirit. How the fuck are we gonna do that? It's just an odd choice, if I'm being honest. Oh, that's it! That's exactly what we need! 3 things the same in soul, body, and mind. Says the soul of Sayman's curse echo. Is curse echo? So Sayman himself is part of the Seven Mysteries? Now that you mention it, Mr. Araishi said something along those lines before. There's another hint written here. My curse echo holds my curse. My curse brings ruin to curse bearers. Oh, well that's, I mean, fucking spell it out, why don't you? Also, that's a really weird thing to include in this, because you've already made me, like, spell out. You've already made me try and guess the sequence of events without actually giving me any hints on it, besides, like, the connective tissue in the tales. Which, you know, in a couple of them, it's not really clear how they kind of relate to one another. But then, when it comes to narrowing down the curse echoes and their identities, you just tell me the curse echo, This game's being weird about what it chooses to be a mystery and what it doesn't. And I'm honestly not a fan of how it does that sometimes. What hint is that? Maybe it'll make more sense as we keep looking. But, will the curse echo still appear if the curse bearer is already gone? Next, the body is a descendant of Sayman's, it seems. Wasn't Yoshimi a relative of Sayman? He and Michio Shiraishi, who had the other talisman. Ah, both of them are already passed by the time this iteration of the curse was unleashed. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Damn, that's true. What are we gonna do? His bloodline was so split up. There have to be others. Oh, there's another note here, too. Where? Is it another hint? As for the body, seek not only one who bears my blood, but one with strong spirit sense? Such an individual will be able, if a spirit attempts to possess them, to instead take control of that spirit themselves. So it says. Do we know anyone like that? I can't think of anyone. Huh, I wonder who this is for. Maybe? I don't know. Let's move on for now. Next is the mind. What's the difference between the mind and the soul? Paranormal theory, it's said that humans are made up of soul, body, and mind. Thank you, newest girl. The mind is essentially thought to be part of the spirit that makes up one's consciousness, or oneself. It's like driving. The body is the car, the soul is the control system, and the mind is the driver. I see. I think that makes sense. It's also a neat way of putting that, actually. It's cute. So is there a hint for finding this one too? Also, like, I'm really surprised it didn't just have that in there. And it feels like we're kind of shortcutting the mystery here. Like, we've made the body a bit more complicated. Oh, excuse me. It's just a bit weird that that wasn't in the text we saw, but it's presenting it to us anyway. Especially considering how long the entry for the Honjo incident is. Surely you could have kept the hints that were in there in the thing too, but maybe they'll get added once we go through this dialogue. So is there a hint for finding this one too? Well, let's see. There's this. Should the Rite of Resurrection be activated elsewhere, so too shall my mind be awakened there. Sayman tried to seal away the Rite of Resurrection, but before he could, Ashino stole the Record of Fates. So as a countermeasure to the Rite being activated, he made it so that his mind would be released from the seal. Is that who the player is? Is that who the player is? Okay, but what does that actually mean? What it means is, Sayman's mind awoke the night of the RIte awoke the night the RIte was activated. It must be possessing someone out there right now. What? So we have to get that person together with everything else. Alright, so we have to find the Curse Echo, the Descendant, and the person possessed by Sayman. Then we just get them together in one place and we'll be good to go. Right, but there is one thing. The second and third ones could be the same person. Oh. But who could that be? It's like how Michio lost her memories when she was possessing Yako. Sayman's consciousness might not be aware of who it really is. So if you learn the truth, would he start to act on his own accord? Mio says, looking into the camera, and I'm like, I don't think I'd be acting too different at the moment. Then that person could already be... Oh, hold on a second. Someone's coming this way. Huh? Excuse me, could I interrupt for just a moment? Yeah! Who might you be? Would you buy this empty can of juice I just finished drinking for 10,000 yen? Huh? You seem like the kind of guy that would be into that. I'm sorry. Is that too much? Is that too much? It might be too much. I'm sorry. I've been throwing these bones from some fried chicken. You can't beat a deal like this. I don't really want them. Don't say that. Come on, they're delicious. Oh my god. No, hold on a second. No, wait. Okay, chat, she's being very weird. She's being off-putting even. Wouldn't the first thing you'd do if a person started doing this to you is leave? Yako? Yako, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, Yoko, sorry. Yoko, you have the Whispering Canal. You are trying to make these people leave. What the fuck are you doing? Actually, I thought I might just have a picnic right here. Won't you join me? Sorry, I'd probably be too frozen with anxiety to leave personally, but I'm a nervous wreck. One thing the curse bearers can't account for: social anxiety. I don't understand. What should we do? Oh, it's not like we need this exact spot and we can't do anything with other people around. Let's just move somewhere else. No, don't do it. Oh no. Sorry, we're in the middle of something, so we'll just be on our way. No! What? What? It hurts. Holy shit! This is a curse. Well, I'm glad my instinct was right there, but, like... Yoko, what the fuck?! Did she kill Shogo? Ugh. Holy shit! You have my heartfelt thanks for all your work thus far. Or this is... Or, honestly, this might be Sayman, actually. It's not the player. But... this brings the story of the 7 mysteries of Honjo to a close. And who could have foreseen such a conclusion? Unfortunately, it seems the so-called mastermind was one step ahead of you. She remains hidden, leaving behind no evidence. Perhaps there is truly no way to stop her. However, should you find that this conclusion is not to your liking, by all means, please pursue a different path. You have done it once before, so I am sure you already know how. With that, I shall be taking my leave. I have been your humble storyteller. Good night. Okay. However, the final curse bearer, Yoko Fukunaga, appears just then. She seals their curse stones, using them to bring tragedy down upon the city. Let's go back to this. I think I've let you talk enough. Wait, what was... oh, wait, no, hold on. This is too late. May as well go from the beginning, I guess. Hostage. Sorry, I couldn't say from Nijima. You heard. Oh, I didn't expect that from you. Huh? Thought you'd just start questioning me before you bothered to ask how I'm doing. Ah. Well, I am still your father. Ooh, maybe boss can handle this after all. Yep. The boss is definitely not going to be safe scumming this at all. Fine, I managed to get... I'm fine. I managed to get away somehow or other. Right. I'm glad. How is she? Yasuko, I mean. Mom? I haven't kept in touch with her. I've been on my own this whole time. I'm sure you've reached out to her, though, haven't you? I did call her this morning, actually, just to make sure she was safe. She's been running around all over the place looking for you. Sounds like she's fine to me. Did you contact her after I called the police to tell her you'd heard from me? I did not. I've heard you're into nightlife and staying out late these days. Didn't want her to worry more than she already was. You'll want to talk? Okay, we haven't hit a road bump so far. Why are you willing to go so far for the Rite of Resurrection? What do you want with it? Even though I told you, you wouldn't understand. You just call it stupid and dismiss the idea completely. Come on, I wouldn't do that. Maybe together we can think up a way for you to get what you want without resurrection. Yeah, and then... Quite the feat, huh? That's you. You sound so stupid, dumbass. I'm sure you never noticed. Really, I had no idea. It saved me. Didn't know you felt so helpless. Yeah, of course you didn't. You would only realize it now, but it's too late. Feeling sorry won't do any of us any good. The moment I heard about Ryan, I shall die happy. Really serious about this? And I'll put this bluntly. Did you kill Nejima? And if I did you hide me from the police? Well, I don't know if I... That's what I thought. Job is the only thing you care about. Yes. I did it. You... I don't think you even knew I was a curse bearer. You brought me to the... Yeah. You could actually activate. So there's no going back now. It's not true. You can work things out. Let me say it another way. My chance and I won't throw it away. Your chance. Nejima say anything to you? All bad things about you, that's for sure. Yeah, no surprise there. So I had a lot of bad things to say you back and I want to be outdone. That way, if I'm only like kindred spirit... No. Kindred spirit, what are you talking about? The motherfucker's a murderer. But I'm a murderer, so... Yeah... Oh, you're different. Am I? Well, maybe not that different. At least you're honest. I know I haven't been the best father, but I wonder of all the fathers in the world, are there any who wouldn't cover for their child if they committed a crime? How should I know? You're the detective here. I must have seen plenty of cases like that. Plenty of parents see before. Okay, yeah. I like that. It's there, Utaro, you grabbed it. Not really, he was kind of a boring guy. Talk about. We'll probably end up. Maybe that doesn't actually matter. Hiding something. Well, this is the other place I can make a decision, so... I have without a secret or two. Let me tell you how my curse stone, the Taiko Tsugaru, works. My curse bludgeons to death anyone I find out is hiding something from me. So if you try to cover something that I know is true, I'll be able to use my curse stone on you. With that in mind, can I ask you one more thing? Evergreen Beach has a similar condition. I can use my curse on anyone who tells me a lie. How's that fair? So the law, it's inexcusable, but as a parent with a duty child, I have no other choice. Are you threatening me? Either, but just take, yeah, go ahead then. Okay, I'm going to ask. If you try to hide it now, you really will die. Am I your real daughter? I don't think I get a choice for this one, come to think of it. Truth, you won't admit it. My real parent is the man I was just with. I have one answer for you. He's still... Okay. I guess that makes sense, because, yeah, the scene turning out that way is kind of poetic and shit. I forgot Aereo just kind of looks like that. Jesus Christ. Everyone else is distraught and he's just like, Yeah, and then we got back to here. Okay. Okay. I guess the question is, where do we even start to try and change things? True, Vulpix. That emoji to a T. Where would I even start? I suppose the one clue I do have is that I need to get Saymon's Curse Echo, body, and mind in the same place. Which would mean getting Mayu's Curse Echo, the player character, I'm assuming, and Alright, hold on. I think I'm gonna get a hint for this, because I legit... This is so open-ended, I don't actually know where to start. Manhunt. Start from Manhunt. Okay. I guess we can do that. Would we wanna... Wait, but he had the gun... What? I didn't get a choice. Oh, do I have to really start from the fucking, do I have to really... Okay, we'll do the whole thing. So I probably need to tell him to put the gun down, and we can go from there. Because we know if Aereo is still holding the gun, that just, okay, maybe we could have started from later in that chapter then. From the bridge. Yeah, put the gun down. Speed run through the talking. Very inappropriate music for hunting down a serial killer, I will say. Before we get through the rest of that shit. these sound effects, man. They're combing the town for casualties now, but it's gonna take a while. Oh, sounds like you better get to work. So, he's used this because he's got to be blowing a smoke. What's his game here? Is he just stalling for time, or does he have some way to turn the tables? In fact, let me just save the game here real quick. I didn't realize. Oh, but this is because I was jumping back and forth in last resort to figure out what the fuck to do. But I do enjoy that all my save files are Haruwe, except for the one I'm actively using. Okay, well... Is there anything else we can do now? Okay, we're done. Is there anything else I can... Oh! Maybe if I can finish this scene without noticing she's there? Because the whole ending of this scene is because of, Ayame getting kidnapped, right? Maybe we can do something else here, then? But it seems like we're in... It seems like we're in kind of a... Like, I've completed everything examining him. I've completed everything talking to him. We've got the tick mark for the talk here. We've got the tick mark for that there. Technically, I don't have a tick mark here, but there's no other topics to go over. So what else can we really do? And if I click, like, potentially if I notice Ayame's there, because I think, Fumichika only noticed that she was there because of... But I don't have... Oh no, I've been misled. Hold on. Got anything else? Because I was deceived. This is not where we start this. Well, that was to get the other ending we already saw. Because this kind of all seems inevitable. The only... Oh, okay, yeah. Sit back and think about the matter of this. So, is there a way I can change the events that have happened up until this point? I guess is the question. We've already seen all of this play out, so surely it's something earlier on, right? And based on the way that all of this is, like, diverging, like, there could be something early on in here. Like, what can I... Okay, so the reason conclusion comes along is basically that Yoko has been AWOL the entire time and just swoops in without anyone knowing who she is. And we literally never see her except for in Shogo's path. I guess that's some place I could start. Is there... Hold on. Is... Was that little tilde mark always there? Or apostrophe? That makes me think it's like a alternate. Sorry, I just thought I saw frame drops. I'm closing some shit just to make sure that doesn't persist. Also, where did Moobot go? That's weird. I don't remember closing that. No. I don't know if I'm imagining things or not, but... Is that a thing? But this also seems... Okay, that just kind of goes. Oh, no, it is a part 3 too, that's why, yeah. Oh, we can... Unless it's here? What would even... But this is... Wait a minute. Surely it couldn't be something in here, right? Because this... Oh. But if Yoko's dead... That would... No, surely not. Right? But... What the fuck? Is that the beckoning light? Huh? What the hell is that? Looks like a light floating in midair. Oh! What the fuck? Oh, it's coming closer. Is this another one of the 7 mysteries? Looks like... Oh, will-o-wisp, maybe. Is there anything like that in the Seven Mysteries? Sure, touch it. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Huh? Am I supposed to touch it? Sir, what are you doing? I'm sorry? Wait. Hold on. Pause. No. Time out. Hold on. Oh my god, this is fucking ZTD all over again. Are you telling me that you go all the way through the game, going all through these events, and then come to the conclusion that actually this can't happen, transpire this way, because Yoko just turns up and kills everyone? If this is actually, like, the actual ending, I don't know if I just found something extra or whatnot, but, and to be fair, I did get a nudge, while I was looking stuff up that it was something to do with Shogo. Or at least after I saw this, I was like, okay, hold on. am I barking up the wrong tree with this? And I got told part 3, but then yeah. So I didn't entirely figure this out myself, but then all I really did was go part 3. I was like, okay, part 3. Let's look at the part 3 that has the weird thing on it, because I don't remember that being there, but then I realized it was the alternate thing. Oh my god, what the fuck is... When the body, soul, and mind of Seiman Tsuchimikado have all been brought together, the rite of cleansing is activated, dispelling all rituals and curses that have previously been performed. So Shogo was another descendant. The mind must be the player. And the curse is right here. At least I think that's the logic here. My. Finally, you have arrived at this juncture. I expected no less from you. I don't think I ever would have figured that out myself, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. Like... Oh, shit. Like, I don't think there's anything to suggest that Shogo would have been a descendant. I guess I did kind of spoil it for myself, which, like, I guess the thing is, like, because at this point in the game, what would have led me to go back to that, specifically? And again, I think this is... It's kind of rich for me to say, I guess, because I did, like... I just had no fucking clue, and at this point, like, yeah, like, if I'm at the cusp of the ending of the game, then I don't really want to sit here and just, like, you know, agonize over it for too long. But, like, I don't know how I would have come to this conclusion. Like, Yeah, I guess the thing that would have led me there is the curse echo, the player, and some person need to all be in the same place at one time. And given the way that things have played out so far, pretty much everyone in the entire game that we know that has strong spirit sense has been in the same place as the lantern, except for two specific people, Yoko and Shogo. But then... So then I guess you start going back through the entire Shogo sections, looking for something to look for. I wish the thing I ended up looking up was a bit more vague in terms of what to do. Because I went true ending hints, and it just spelled it. It just said go back to this, go back to part 3, and I was like, oh, okay. God, I shouldn't have done that. I feel like I kind of spoiled myself there. And yeah, I guess the logic is that, like, okay, so the mind of Sayman has been activated, and there's a big hint in the Yoko kills everyone ending that, I go, oh, so it's a spirit that's been around and has been, like, poking, or, you know, just been around for a while, and potentially possessing people, that hasn't been accounted for. So, yeah, okay, that might be the player. Then you've got to have the Curse Echo, which the Curse Echo has been with a bunch of people, but I probably wouldn't have thought about the physical touch of it, which also, you know, makes it a bit more difficult to come to that conclusion, but you don't know that until after you touch it. So then you go, okay, so I need to get the player, that Curse Echo, and someone in the same area at the same time. But I think the thing that I would have been stuck on is going, alright, even if I come to the conclusion that it's Shogo, because it's a person that's been completely unaccounted for, that hasn't been in the same room as many of the Curse Echoes throughout the game, especially the lantern. I don't know why I would have come back. Like, I would have had to have played through all of Shogo's thing again to figure that out, I think. Because there's nothing... Like, it'd be one thing if throughout the story you have actually seen an instance where the person in question could have touched the Curse Echo and you go back there, right? Like, at this point, you need to figure out what those three pieces are, right? And if you're under the assumption that the player is the person that is the mind of Sayman, you're probably like, oh, so the player has to do something. Cool. That's been the whole meta thing it's been building up to. So then you have to do one of two things. You have to try and narrow down who has never been in the same room as the Curse Echo, or who is Sayman's descendant. And if following the line of logic for both of those, you probably come to the conclusion that it's someone that hasn't been around Tetsuo after he acquires... Well, no. After he acquires the lantern, which Mayu has. So... Actually, yeah, sorry, hold on. Follow me here for a second. Yeah, that's fine. So, from this point onward, or actually, technically, probably somewhere in here, or somewhere in here, maybe? Actually, probably here. You get the Curse Echo into there, but then you've got Harue's stuff. Which, okay, maybe it's Harue, but how do you get the Curse Echo into her hand? You probably also reasonably, put it down to the player characters, or the player-controlled characters. But then again, that explicitly discounts Mayu, because she has that Curse Echo, she can't, and the player was there, so she can't be a descendant. Yako was in the same area, so maybe you narrow that down too. Tetsuo obviously has it, so he's out. Haruwe is the next closest, because she wasn't in the room at the time, but she seems completely disconnected from this sequence of events. Well, actually, no. Wasn't Mayu and Haruwe in the same place at the same time at some point? So I guess that does lead you back to Shogo. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't think I ever would have figured this out. Like, considering the amount of variables in play, I would have either played through every single bit of Haruwe's thing again to try and figure things out, or gone back through Shogo's. And the thing is, I especially, like, going through it as I was, I don't think I would have thought to look around during a conversation with, what's his name? That seems so fucking random. Yeah, like, on one hand, I do feel like I spoiled myself a little bit, but on the other, like, I don't know how I would... I feel like I would have been stuck like I was with fucking, Fancy Sushi. Like, I genuinely don't know if I ever would have figured that out. My. Finally, you have arrived at this juncture. I expected no less from you. That would mean that you have managed to bring everything to light. Though there is the possibility that you have wound up here by chance. And yeah, that's the other thing too. So are you telling me that if in the beginning, through my initial playthrough, if I just looked to the right when I was having that conversation with the business suit, that I would have just been able to stumble into the true ending? Like this is on the level of the coin flip in ZTD, where you end up just... You won the coin flip, so you leave. It's like... Oh. Okay. And if you know more about how the game transpires, you know that that is actually a really important moment considering everything that happens. So on one hand... I do kind of love the audacity of going like, yeah, just go back to the beginning of the game and figure out a way to proceed without the events actually happening. But the thing there is that, like, it's not that you're naturally led to thinking that that is the thing you should do, but rather that by process of elimination, you would probably go back through it all, and you either stumble upon this by chance or through brute force. Like, I genuinely don't know how you figure that out without going back through every single one of Shogo's timeline events. And going through every single one and trying to see if you can find, like, the beckoning light or something. I don't know if I like this mystery ultimately, but we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll feel different when it kind of spells things out. Though there is a possibility that you have wound up here by chance. So before I take you any further, I must ask you a number of questions. About what exactly the soul, body, and mind of Seiman Tsuchimikado are. Firstly, which curse echo represents the soul of Seiman Tsuchimikado, the beckoning light? Yes, that is exactly it. After his defeat at the hands of Ashino in the Honjo incident, Seiman wandered about near Honjo. Or Hoonji, sorry. The form of his curse echo changed over time with the legend he left behind. This is the curse echo which was required by Mayu Chozawa. But when called forth by Seiman's body and mind, it appeared momentarily before him. But... okay, see, this is my problem, right? Like, the thing you do in the gameplay is just look around for it. You don't do a specific action. Like, there isn't a thing, like, where you go back and tell Shogo to throw the lighter away, right? where you come up against an ending and the storyteller's like, yeah, that is a bit odd, isn't it? I wonder. And gives you, like, a nudge of, like, you know, it gives you a nudge of a specific action to do to invoke the echo coming to Shogo, right? Like, it'd be one thing if you go back to a specific sequence, or you're nudged in a direction to go back to a specific sequence, or somewhere in Shogo's thing, and there's an extra option, just like when the curse echo is like possessing him or something, that there's something to say like reach out to the beckoning light, right? Or like that's a bit on the nose, but like the player didn't do anything to call the curse echo to Shogo. It just turned up. And I feel like that's really... I feel like that's really just not interesting, ultimately. Because it does play on the fact that you saw the beckoning light earlier in the game that led you to the whole Mayu's darkness chapter. Like, the beckoning light does float around. But in that case, I read it more as Mayu unconsciously using the beckoning light to try and help save herself. Or the curse echo acting on its own will. But here, it's like, but when called forth by Seimen's body and mind, bro, Shogo didn't do it, the player didn't do anything. I think that's the thing that's ultimately getting me, is just like, it's not that you need to go back to a specific chapter and do a specific action with knowledge that the player should have had. It's that you go back to a random chapter and look around, and that as the thing that you should have put together, as opposed to the storyteller being like, well, or like the Yin scroll or something, describing how to call forth like the echo or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the way this ended. And admittedly, I think it is partly because I did end up spoiling myself because I knew I wasn't going to figure it out. Like, I just had no fucking clue, ultimately. But even if I am to give it, like, okay, I spoiled myself on that, fine. Like, that's my bad. But I'm trying to reverse engineer how I would have actually approached this, and I don't see how I get through this without brute force. Just going back through every one of Shogo's chapters until something happens. And I'm gonna be honest, like, the fact that it's not this thing... Well, the fact that it's not, something the player can do, right? Like, open the Yin Scroll file while in Shogo's body to invoke the curse echo to him, right? Like, fuck, if the hint scroll, or sorry, the Yin Scroll that gave you all the hints, actually told you how to call the beckoning light, like that seems like a really obvious thing, right? It's like, okay, I need to find a time where I can do this thing in the game. And that does take a bit of searching, admittedly. Like, it's not... It still requires a little bit of brute force work. But maybe part of the action that you need to do is, like, gives you some hints, right? Like, you need to be in the presence of another curse bearer and, you know, do this action, right? And you go back and think, okay, where in the game am I talking to another curse bearer that is potentially in the vicinity of someone, a descendant of Seiman, and the player has the ability to tell that the person the player is controlling to do this action, right? I feel like there's a much better way of doing that, but and this sorry, I know, like, some of this is obviously, like, you know, not being sold as hard because I kind of spoiled it, but I genuinely think there is a real problem here that I touched on earlier, where the Yin Scroll just tells you the curse echo you're looking for. It doesn't tell you how to summon it or something like that, or that, you know, there's a way that you can tell that it is around. It just says it's this curse echo. And I feel like the fact that we got to the Yin Scroll, and the Yin Scroll lays so much out in terms of the sequence of events that have transpired, in terms of the 3 pieces that are actually needed to build things together, to activate the Rite of Cleansing. The fact that that scroll tells you exactly what the Curse Echo is, but does not at all give you any indication of when you should go back into the game to try and invoke the Rite of Cleansing, I think is a genuine problem. Like, that, the mystery is kind of fucked up because of that. You resort to brute force rather than the Yin Scroll actually giving you a decent hint to set off your thought process as to where you could probably go. Instead, it blunt force well, not blunt force. Well, okay. It blunt force tells you the Curse Echo that's related to this, and it kind of infers who the player is, but gives you nothing about the Descendant, and doesn't tell you anything about how you could potentially invoke the Rite. Like, for example, you telling me a blunt force this? Yeah. You're telling me a brute force this? For example, remember the voice volume thing? Imagine if somewhere in the option... imagine if there was something in the options menu that was just like... turns on and off, like, Curse Echo or something. Or, oh, turns off, on and off the guide. Right? And what you have to do is, as Shogo, you go into the options menu, you turn the guide back on, and that actually invokes the guiding light. What the fuck is the name of it again? The beckoning light. Yeah, like you turn on beckon, or there's a beckon button or something like that, and you actually invoke the thing coming. But no, you just have to go into the right place in the right time in the story and look around. Like, considering the fact that the game explicitly spells out so much about how to actually resolve this mystery, that it leaves out one of the most important things in terms of providing direction for how to do that, I think is, like, genuinely an L on this game. I genuinely think that this the resolution of this mystery is not well thought out. Like, again, trying to reverse engineer how I would have done this, knowing what the actual pieces are now, I would not have ever gotten this conclusion. I guarantee you. And, like, part of that is on me, because, like, I just didn't know what to do. But, like, it's not necessarily that it never lays the groundwork for it, but it makes so much more of the mystery obvious that I don't think it needed to be obvious, and makes one of the most important points that is really, really not clear at all. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, in some senses, you spoiled the mystery about figuring out who the Curse Echo, what Curse Echo it is. You did a decent job of implying that the player character is Sayman. Like, I kind of like that, I'm not gonna lie. But the who of it, and thus, like, kind of the when of where you have to go into the story, is like, oh, it's a person with strong spirit sense. Which I don't even know if that applies to Shogo, to be completely honest with you. I don't know how I would... Actually, yeah, no, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know how I would have actually figured that bit out. Because I would have been like, well, I would have done it from process of elimination rather than using that hint. And that's, like, a huge mark on this game, because, like, if it told me, like, yeah, you need to do this thing, when the body of Sayman is around, right? Because, like, and it's explicitly saying it here, but when called forth by Sayman's body and mind, imagine if I had to go into the options menu and tick something to make that happen. Like, it ties in all of the elements together. It ties in something that it ties in the voice volume thing you've had to do before. It ties in the moving characters around that you had to do in earlier chapters. It brings forth the player's knowledge of the actual story because you have to try and think through where the things are actually going. If you did, in fact, have to call forth the Curse Echo, this would have been so much better. And the Yin Scroll hinting at how to beckon, how to call it forth, would have been a really cool thing. But it doesn't. It gives you obvious hints for the other two things, and doesn't tell you shit about where you need to go in the story. But, when called forth by Seaman's body and mind, it appeared momentarily before him. Let us continue. Who served as the self of Seaman Tsuchimikado? Who was his body, his descendant, carried the blood in his veins? Shogo. Correct again. Although Shogo Okie was born to an ordinary family, the blood of a distant relative ran thick in his veins. And, yeah, also, I'm not gonna lie, like, oh yeah, Shogo's ordinary protagonist, and then he gets killed off. It's like, okay, we don't need to worry about him. Well, we need to worry about Yoko, because evidently Yoko killed Shogo, and then kills everyone else. Like, but like, it's a tropey thing that honestly I wouldn't have thought that would have been an actual barrier. But I do think that it's a bit odd that like, sorry. You know what? I'll save my thoughts for after this whole sequence, because there might be some more info that it drops that is relevant to the points I'm making. Although Shogo Okie was born to an ordinary family, the blood of a distant relative ran thick in his veins. In truth, the same is true for Yoko Fukunaga. Wait, okay, no, hold on, stop. So you're telling me that if Yoko obtained the the beckoning light, and the player was also there, that this also would have concluded things? I'm gonna let it cook. This seems completely unnecessary. Why on earth would you fucking say that? Because that just means the only reason that this didn't end up getting cleansed at the very end of the game is that the player just arbitrarily can't go there. Because presumably Yoko goes on to kill, people, or maybe she doesn't end up killing, wait, no, doesn't Aereo have all the Curse Echoes? Someone has the Curse Echoes after Tetsuo dies, right? So doesn't that mean Yoko obtains... But then the player just arbitrarily can't end the... Okay. She was also one who had the blood of a distant relative coursing through her veins. Oh, sorry, no. In her case, it was Ashino. Okay, yes, alright, cool. Seiman and Ashino, fated to meet again all these hundreds of years later. Now, for my final question. Who is the mind of Seiman Tsuchimikado? Tell me the name of the person whose consciousness was directly tied to his. Is it my name? I don't remember if I put my name in for this. Believe it to be Wolfie. Are you saying you believe it to be yourself? Are you certain? Yes, you are correct. Finally, you have remembered. That's right. You are Seiman's consciousness, awoken by the curses and the rite of resurrection. However, having lost your memories, you forgot about the duty assigned to you. This is, if I may say so, where I played my part, guiding you through the events of this story. As your consciousness was all that was left of you, you manipulated time and space by the way of the story chart, jumping from vessel to vessel, and manipulated your host's actions by whispering commands into their ears. Yep. God, it would have been just so good if you actually managed to tie all of those things into actually evoking the RIte, instead of just arbitrarily going to a random place and looking around. Honestly, really, it should have been an obscure set of things only the player can do. It shouldn't have been, and should have been able to be done, like, in multiple places in the timeline, right? Or, the circumstances are so specific you need to go to a specific place in the story. Like, if all of that tied together better, I would be so much more happy with this mystery. And I have to say, a lot of this meta stuff and the stuff around the player character, it's actually really good. But the conclusion to the final mystery here is such a letdown mechanically. It's just wander into this part of the story with wander into this random part of the story with no real hint on what to do and just look around. It's a really lame way of doing it, if I'm being honest. Especially with the audacity this game had to tie clearing a particular encounter with a curse bearer to a menu option. Oh, man. In doing so, you were able to get the full picture of what needed to be done. But, at one point, while still unconscious, you managed to remember your duty. The so-called mastermind behind these events, the one who awakened the RIte and the curses, was Yoko Fukunaga, descendant of Ashino herself. Wait! Really? You unconsciously activated your curse and killed her. But... Oh, I think this... Oh, no, dude, no. Oh, this game's playing really fast and loose with what the player's actions actually were, and I don't like it. I'm going to explain afterward, because it's going to take a second to explain. How interesting that she awakened Seaman's consciousness at the same time as the curses. That was the one and only time she could have been stopped. Right. So, yeah, so the actual solution to this entire sequence of events is to kill Yoko before it starts. And you don't... And, no, but the player doesn't... Oh, no, come on, man. This is... Yeah, it's not even like you accidentally kill her. It's that the player doesn't get the opportunity to not kill her. Like the action taken doesn't make Yoko die. It's that Yoko is just killed via the plot. That was the one and only time she could have been stopped. But due to your influence on Shogo Okie's will, Yoko Fukunaga was brought back to life, using the story chart to undo her death. I led you to believe that it was the work of the RIte of Resurrection itself. I'm sorry, what? What? No, wait, no. What is the game saying here? Due to your influence on Shogo Okie's will, Yoko Fukunaga was brought back to life. She wasn't brought back to life, she was saved. That's not the same thing. The reason that Yoko is alive... Wait, no. This... Oh my god, what the fuck... I'm losing my mind, dude. This is unraveling so fucking fast. That's not what happened. Going back in time and saving Yoko didn't mean she's brought back to life. The fact that she's alive during these sequence of events... Like, I guess they aren't strict timelines, but, like... The sequence of events that plays out throughout the game happens in the line where Shogo doesn't kill... Where Yoko isn't killed by the canal, and Shogo ends up dying. So the fact that Yoko is alive... Why are you playing it like that is something that the RIte would have been able to do? They're different timelines. She wasn't brought back... No, Yoko stepping on screen at the very end of that sequence of events is not surprising. She's been missing the entire time and Shogo was dead. It's explicitly contradictory to the first sequence of events that happens. Thus, it is a different timeline. She doesn't show up and that's a surprise because she was resurrected. She shows up and it's not a surprise because we went down a different timeline where she wasn't killed. Why would you have to treat it... I don't understand. I don't understand what the fuck... Led you to believe the work of the RIte Resurrection itself, but as it turns out, seeing what would transpire if the mastermind was not killed at the outset, is what ultimately revealed the way to put an end to the curses for good. I don't know if I ever bought this. If this was actually mentioned, I don't think I ever thought of it once. It was more like, no, we're going down an alternate timeline. Obviously. Like, that was my whole thing. I was wondering, like, oh, I wonder how all these timelines interconnect. And, you know, there was a big question at one point of what timeline we were on where we were controlling everyone except for Shogo. Because up until the point that Shogo's body is actually discovered, you don't know which timeline we're on. Is Yoko alive? Is Shogo alive? Is it a different timeline entirely? Like, my guess was that it was the timeline where Shogo died, because otherwise, you know, there are certain characters that were killed by Shogo that it wouldn't make sense for, you know, that to happen if that's the case. So it was soft confirmed initially, and then it was explicitly confirmed when the body is found. But this is also just so weak, because I'm like, why wouldn't you actually lean into the idea that it was a timeline difference? I don't know if it ever said this, and B, if it did, I must have dismissed that so quickly that I don't actually remember it ever implying that. There were certain things which would have answered all your questions, had you noticed them. For example, even while under your control, Shogo Okie willingly used his curse. Yeah. He was the only one that I think used the curse without the player doing anything. Because we get into that loop with Haraway, right? When I asked you early on how many Shogo Okie had killed, this is what I meant. Right, you're asking, did the player kill him? Did the player kill them, or did Shogo kill them? Had you not used the curse, Shogo Okie would have done so of his own accord. Furthermore, Mayu Chozawa was able to recall information which only you knew. She was able to do this because she was connected to you through her curse echo, the beckoning... What?! Wait! Oh, we got something... We got more for Yoko. Sorry, 1 second. Furthermore, Mayu Chozawa was able to recall information which only you knew, and then he says that that is because you used the beckoning light. Or because she had the beckoning light. But we've been working through... I genuinely don't know what this is actually gesturing at, because I'm thinking about the, combination on the lock, right? But we've done things... We've affected more people than just her. It seems really arbitrary to call this recalling information. Oh my god, this is doing such weird post hoc justifications to things I don't think it needs to justify. This is so fucking strange, dude. Okay. In truth, Yoko is a descendant of Onmyoji who continue to practice in modern times. Her ancestor, Ashino, attempted to steal the rite of resurrection in Honjo during the Edo period. Born with exceptional spirit sense, Yoko learned about her own ancestry while researching her roots, and was disappointed to find her bloodline had fallen into mediocrity. She became consumed with the ambition to restore her family's lost glory through her own powers, and devised a scheme to succeed where Ashino failed and perform the rite of resurrection. Yoko continued her training, developing her spiritual and curse powers until she discovered the Record of Fates, which offered clues regarding the rites. She plotted to use the curses of the 7 mysteries of Honjo to gather a large number of soul drakes by calling forth curse echoes and setting the stage for mutual slaughter. The ultimate plan involved invoking a large-scale feast of shadows, awakening the curses, performing the rite herself, and bringing together enough soul drakes to revive Ashina. Right. Since the effects of the curses increases the more people know about them, she first entrusted the Record of Fates to local historian Hideki Araishi, who could be used to easily spread the rumors. So that was the woman that Hideki got the thing from, right? She also contacted Fumichika Nejima, a criminal with a deep understanding of mystic arts, to obtain the curse stones needed to gather soul drakes. Unsurprisingly, Nejima was very interested in the story of Ashino. Oh, right, because in Nejima's ending, he ends up, like, killing so many people and reviving Ashino. Right. And readily agreed to aid in his, story of Ashino, and readily agreed to aid his revival. Wasn't Ashino a woman? While carrying out these steps, Yoko learned of the existence of the Yin Scroll, which threatened to thwart her plans. She added a note about the scroll in the Record of Fates before giving it to Araishi, intending to acquire it before it could pose an issue. Through her investigations, Yoko discovered that Hajime Yoshimi was a descendant of Seiman, and threatened him with a curse in an effort to scare him into revealing the whereabouts of the Yin Scroll. While Hajime bravely resisted Yoko's threat, she killed him with the curse to ensure Seiman's descendant would not stand in her way. But the wait. Just like a curse, not like a curse echo specifically? That always did seem strange, but... As her preparations were coming together, Yoko obtained the seemingly less dangerous curse stone of the Whispering Canal in order to become a curse bearer, a necessity for gathering the curse stones for the Feast of Shadows. Shogo Okie, also a descendant of Seiman, was eyed as a potential risk factor and contacted to ensure he would be located nearby and subject to monitoring. However, unaware that the spirit of Seiman would be awakened within Shogo as soon as she invoked the curse, Yoko's plan was thwarted when she was immediately cursed to death by Seiman. Man, okay, so first off, telling me this in a dialogue entry in the files is the most boring way to actually tell me this is what happened. Rather than actually unwrap, like, having this aside to tell you the bigger narrative is so fucking boring, dude. Second of all, this whole thing about, like, Seiman's descendant, FF13 data log syndrome, yeah, no, really, like, you are explaining to me right now the impetus for the entire series of events that went through the game, and you're doing it in a person of interest file. This should have been the climax! This should have been the whole thing about, like, figuring out what the fuck was actually going on. But no, you arbitrarily go back to the timeline that you incidentally just... Well, the narrative incidentally just killed the main antagonist, and then you look around for an arbitrary fucking texture floating in the fucking room. Bro! What do you mean? Oh man, this game was going really, really good, and this whole last sequence has just been a fucking garbage fire. The shame is that there are so many good pieces here to actually put in a certain mystery, but the way the game is choosing to tell the story, the way the game is structuring its core mystery, and the way that it's actually explaining these things or hinting at their existence is so fucking sloppy. Peak Square Enix, to be honest. But, I mean, it's published by Square Enix. I don't think it's developed by them. Oh, man. This is such a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. Now. Yeah, she was able to do that. This bit, too, is just... Like, this is so fucking random. Like, oh, it was a clue that Mayu remembered something that you told her. I need to go back and look at that scene carefully, but A, that doesn't stick out to me as distinct enough to... That doesn't strike me as distinct enough to be, that doesn't distinguish itself from the rest of the interactions the player has had with the characters they end up controlling. For one. But for two, like, you told her the information. The prompt was shown to the player. So that was the player entering that. It wasn't Mayu thinking... Oh, boy. Now, allow me to ask you one last question. If you, knowing all that you know now, had the ability to resurrect one life, what would you do? I wouldn't want it. I would destroy it. Oh, I see. I see. That was Sayman's original intention. I apologize for leaving it out of the options when I first asked you this question. Yeah. Now, it is time to bring things to a close. Upon your arrival here, the rite of cleansing was activated, dispelling all other rituals and curses. Look upon the fruit of your efforts. And then we shall leave this world behind for good. Thank you, truly, for all the work you have done. Uh-oh. Oh, yep, there it is. Took a second, but... That's what happened? I can't believe it. I finally understand. Yeah. I was the one who did that to Yoko. Wait! But the storyteller just said it was Satan! What do you mean? The storyteller explicitly said that Sayman was the one who am I crazy? This feels like a writing mistake. Like, that's literally contradictory to a section of dialogue. Yeah, I was the one who did that to Yoko. blood of the Onmyoji that's inside me, broke into my consciousness and gave me that curse. But, no! Oh my fucking... Yoko was after the Rite of Resurrection. She was the one who awakened the curses of the Seven Mysteries and cast the Feast of Shadows. See, okay, I wanna say one thing though. I will say that, oh yeah, going back in time and just arbitrarily killing the villain in the beginning is like, yeah, like, I think the fact that it was just arbitrary and that it wasn't the player's actions kind of sucks, or that it wasn't actually Shogo doing it, you know what I mean? Or, you know, prompted in the same way. I think that sucks, but I will say, oh, we actually averted this in the first place, and the player goes back to save Yoko not knowing them, but then realize, like, that's really cool. That is really, really cool. Shame about the fucking rest of the game. Oh, man. Ugh. Data log entry is gonna be sick, though. Just put it in the data log, bro. And the only way to stop all of it was to put a stop to her here. Otherwise, the rite of cleansing might have been negated, too. I wonder how much of it was really her doing all these things. Yoko. I guess that explains why I felt it was fate when this all started. Though she didn't seem to notice. I guess things were already destined to end like this, the moment we met. I wish we could have met under different circumstances. No. No point in thinking that, like that now. God, I need a drink. Thinking a Moscow Mule, or 2, or 3. Ma'am? What is it? Just a dream. Seems that it was all just a dream. I dreamt that there was such a thing as the Rite of Resurrection. Oh, so they all know. She looks high as hell. I know. Evil, tired woman. I love her to death. Just a dream. Sorry to say it, but there isn't. Right. Of course not. But even if there is no such thing, I promise you that I will get to the bottom of the kidnapping. In fact, I've happened to find a very important lead from over a year ago. Something that's evaded our reach until now. An eyewitness from the scene of the kidnapping. I see. Wait, does that imply that what's her name is... Oh, fuck, right. Does that imply that some... no, wasn't she killed like a week before the ritual? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the hell is this? The medical unit told me to get down here. What happened? Oh, so they don't know? Wait, they don't know... Why does Haruwe know what happened? What the fuck? As I was looking into Yoshimi's death at the former Yasuda Gardens, another body was discovered at a different park in the area. Could they be related? Sure looks like it, but... Excuse me, we found this among the victim's belongings. Thought you'd want to know. What's this? What the hell? Boss, look what was in the female victim's address book. Yoshimi's phone number and photo. Oh, Hajime Yoshimi, yeah, right. What? And the picture. There's an X drawn on it, and a bunch of weird symbols, and a hole where his heart would be. No. Do you think... I mean, could this be some kind of curse or something? How many times do I have to tell you not to try to connect everything to the occult? Damn it. Is this a Nakagoshi case after all? What was that, boss? Don't worry about it. Make sure you put that photo into evidence. There's no doubt this is related to Yoshimi. Make sure you do a thorough sweep of the area. I'm gonna make a phone call. Got it. Leave it to me. Spend as long as you want on the phone. Mio, it turns out Michio really did die in an accident. What? Why was Tetsuo arbitrarily left out of this, like, knowing what happened thing? That's so weird. Yeah, if we ask around, we might be able to get a little more information. I guess there never really was such a thing as the Rite of Resurrection. But I did feel like there was a spirit watching over us. Oh, so maybe they've been given selective memories. But it is so weird that like, it seems Tetsuo's hasn't been let on at all. Or given any information at all. That's strange. Damn it. Why? Nothing's happening. But now my contact won't be... No. Contract won't be... No. Should never have believed in this blasted record of fates. To all of you watching from far, far away, the Rite of Resurrection has never existed. Not in any world, not in any time. So I ask you to take the life you hold and move boldly forward, one step at a time. Richter, he wise out. Do you want to question him? Hang on, Ario. I want to get enough evidence for a search warrant. Let him go for now, and I'll follow him. That's the kidnapper? Yes, I'm the one who did it. So, please, help me. She's always following me. I'm sorry, Michio. I had no idea. What? Hajime was killed? By this Yoko Fukunaga? How can that be? He wasn't the kind of guy who could just be picked off like that. You know that. Yeah, the boss is hiding something. Seems to be some kind of secret hidden in Hajime's family tree. Let me see if I can find out what it is. God, Mayu's so fucking hot, dude. I had heard you would be absent today. Is there something you need? Well, I seem to have this spirit sense thing all of a sudden. Wait! He never... I know it's the sort of thing our chairwoman doesn't approve of, so I thought I'd mention it. He never had the spirit sense in the... Fuck me dead, dude. Could have called. Didn't think you were the standoffish type. I had to find it out from your why. Whoops, sorry. Forgot all about my favorite chief inspector. What the hell are you planning? Nothing so heinous as you're thinking. Only Makoto Ashimiya, after all. Nothing but a lowly janitor. How are things with you? Getting along with your daughter? Well, you know, more or less. Okay. So... I think there's a lot to like about this game. The premise, some of the meta element executions are really good. And I think the conceit of the story chart, I think, is also really good too. It's not, brand spanking new. I've obviously played visual novels that have done, honestly, like, way better, more complicated stuff with the story chart and stuff like that. But, not every game needs to be a 999 and, be revolutionary in terms of, or at least to me, exceptionally good, potentially revolutionary at actually executing that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think a game... I think a game can just be good reusing things that have already come along and put them in interesting configurations, and that's enough, right? I think there's a lot of the writing that's enjoyable. I think there's a lot of mysteries in that game that was enjoyable too, like, finding out who Mayu is and things like that. I think there's a lot about the game that works really well, and I think individual pieces of the mystery, the ultimate mystery, is also, like, really good. Like, I love the idea that Yoko was actually the villain the whole time, and that, like, in the very beginning, you ended up averting the entire problem from the very beginning, or, taking a step in the direction of fixing the entire problem from the very beginning, and the player goes and explicitly undoes that to unlock the rest of the story. That's genius. I love that. However, I think there are two really key things that make that whole thing fall flat on its fucking face. One of them is the mechanical execution. So, I thought Fancy Sushi was going to be my ultimate sticking point with this game, that I don't think it was telegraphed too well, and that it could have used with a bit of polishing in terms of, like, indicating the thing the game wanted you to do without telling you to do it. Boy, was I wrong. I think the final mystery of this game and the way you resolve things is genuinely not good. And I think there are major problems with the way it chose to try and play it out. For starters, the way that... Actually, sorry, before we get onto that, there is another thing I wanted to say. There was a lot less actual curse bearer battles than I thought there was going to be. I feel like the particular aspect of the game that was, like, basically stand battles, like, falls into the background a lot more than I would have liked. And obviously, that's not what the game was going for, but, complete the story, reach all endings. Yippee! We did it. And now it's thrown me back into the game? Come on, wait. Far away, my beloved. Yeah, so the Curse Bearer aspect, obviously that wasn't what the game was going to be about. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity to not have more of that, honestly, but, yeah. I always feel weird when there's a nugget a game doesn't dig into that I think would be really cool. Yeah, like the idea that your conversations are essentially battles in, like, a visual novel game is inspired. It's really cool, and the places you do have to kind of step around that are cool. I would have liked a bit more of that. If there's anything I want to see more of from this team, it's that. It's the Curse Bearer battles. I want to see them iterate on that particular aspect. But yes, so, getting to the Rite of Cleansing. I don't think this makes me not like the game, because I enjoyed 90% of my time with this game, except for the Fancy Sushi bit and then this bit here. But, like, it is such a mark on this game that the way... Like, there's ultimately a couple of problems that happen throughout the course of the game. The first is that a lot of backstory and stuff like that is told to you through the files and the people, the person of interest, hang on, is it just files? Yeah, the files. So, a lot of, like, motivation and things that would have been really cool to see characters talked about is instead put into the files. And some of that is important because it's, like, reasonings for doing things. It also explicitly spells out events, which explicitly spelling out the events of a thing that the characters cover briefly that you don't necessarily need the exact iteration of, but is just in the files, that's perfectly fine. That's good even. You keep some data, you keep some information in there that's intriguing to read, but isn't necessarily, like, important to the literal story happening right now. But there is a bit too much of that, right? The other thing that I think the game trips over a few times is nudging you in the right direction for its meta aspects, right? I think the voices bit is done really well. I think the lighter bit is done really well. I think the whole thing with the Mayu puzzles and stuff like that are done really well. Almost all of it is done pretty well in isolation, but when it gets more complicated, it starts to trip over, and that's when fancy sushi happens, where I genuinely don't think that is actually designed well. And the fact that there was, in fact, another instance of this actually working in a way that makes more sense later on in the game is, yeah, that's not good. Your first instance of encountering this shouldn't be the worst designed one. More than that, though, it also has a problem with, I think one of the other major issues is that there's a major disconnect between the mindset of the player and the writer, or the narrative designer, I want to say. The person who's putting, the people that are putting the game together. Because there's a couple of situations where there's a Persona 4 moment, for example, where the game just turns to you and says, you should have the information to answer this question. Answer the question. And I think that's great. That puts a lot of faith in the player. But it feels like but to do that, you need a good read on what the player is going to be thinking at that stage of the game, right? How much are they going to have to sit down and actually think about things that you presented and how that actually ends up interconnecting? And I think this game's cardinal sin is being overconfident in how it thinks the player is thinking. Because the places that it does and doesn't hint at information that you need to solve mysteries or puzzles or just inform you about potentially what's going on in the broader narrative it's a coin flip as to whether that is actually a good read or not. Genuinely. Because there are so many points in this game where it just spells something out for you that I feel was like a genuine, interesting thing to think over, but it didn't think it was one. Whereas there are other instances where it wants you to think over something, but then hasn't at that point given you any information to work with, and expects you to just know it because, yeah, I have confidence that you know it, but you can only have that confidence when you have led them to that point. And all of these three things come together in this final bit. I don't like how this is mechanically executed. First of all, it's not like a obscure sequence of events, and it doesn't even tie in some of the meta things it's been doing beforehand. Like putting a character into the right place to do this thing, or going into the options menu to do something to make sure that, like, this thing can show up. Like, the thing you do to activate the Rite of Cleansing is boring, it's uninteresting, and the way that it's actually implemented leads me to believe that you can only encounter this via brute force. I genuinely don't know how you actually solve that mystery without using brute force. So, mechanically, it's just, it's a fail for me. Secondly, so on a mechanical level, I just don't think it's very interesting. Like, I think it falls flat on its face. It doesn't tie in a lot of them. This is the denouement of the game. This is the moment that, like, it should be, like, coming together of all of the things you've learnt into this moment. And mechanically speaking, it doesn't tie anything into it. barely anything into it. You go into a cutscene, and you look around, and you see the thing, and you tell Shogo to do the thing. It's the least interesting version of all of the meta things this game has been doing. So, yeah. Uninteresting, boring, and honestly, mechanically hides itself in a really uninteresting way, I'd say. Secondly, the way you are actually led to this information. The Yin Scroll and the hints within it are the biggest, again, a culmination of this game being overconfident in how it thinks the player is going to put things together. It literally spells out which curse echo is actually the one, which, you know, maybe you just want to diffuse that mystery and have the other parts of it emphasized, but I don't think you needed to spell that out. And it's honestly, that also speaks to, like, not much confidence in the player actually figuring that out, now that I think about it. Maybe it's not overconfidence in knowing what the player is going to be doing, but rather, in a lot of places being very confident, and in a lot of places being not very confident at all, and that not actually aligning with the actual difficulty of the mystery. Maybe that's the thing. It's not overconfidence in reading the player. It's actually the opposite. It's neither the opposite nor that. It's more that they just have a bad read on what the player is actually going to be thinking and what is actually interesting about the mystery. But yeah, so first of all, the curse mystery is just completely removed, and I don't like that at all. I think it was pretty obvious which one of those were, and considering how Hideki was suggesting throughout the game that one of the curse echoes is Sayman, and that we explicitly had to spell out some of the events that happened in the Honjo incident to understand unlocking the talisman, I feel like by going through that sequence of events, the player should have a decent idea of who the Curse Echo, who Sayman is in terms of the Curse Echoes. Like, I think if you had confidence in the player, you would, like, that would be it. Like, you just leave that to them and they can figure it out, right? And ultimately, it doesn't actually fucking matter. Mechanically, it doesn't actually matter that you don't know what it is, right? You just have to, like, you can not know what the spirit echo you're looking for is and still get to this point. And I think it speaks to, honestly, I think it speaks to the, mechanically uninteresting ending here, that the information about the three people is more important for explicit questions the narrative asks you, as opposed to actually activating the rite of cleansing. Like, by the game's own admission, you can accidentally do this. You shouldn't be able to accidentally do it. It should be an obscure sequence of events that you could only gain as the player after going through the entire game. Like, it feels so weird that it preoccupies itself with asking you these questions and being like, oh yeah, I know, you probably could have stumbled this accidentally, so I just have to double check. Whereas you could make that check required to solve the mystery. So, I do think that the spirit aspect, the mind, the body, soul, and mind. So, the soul bit, the game just kind of doesn't have confidence in you, and that's exceptionally boring, because I think it's pretty obvious, or reasonable to put together based on the things you had to do to reach that point. The player being Sayman, great. It hinted at it a little bit, and I think that was actually the perfect... Well, yeah, actually, in these three hints, we have perfect examples of what the game does wrong, and a perfect example of what it does right. The fact that the player is Sayman, and is the mind of Sayman, is nudged at the spirit going around, controlling people. Kind of like Shiraishi, you know? Anyway, and just not explicitly saying it. That, I think, was fine. You could put that together, right? And then there's the body bit. Now, what all these three things together should suggest to you is that there is a place you need to go into the story. Obviously, you know, don't want to be too obvious with it. There is a place you need to go into the story, and there is something you need to do there, right? That's the two things, right? And the body, you're given, this person has strong spirit sense, which I would like to point out in that sequence of events, it was only said in the end that Shogo had spirit sense. I genuinely don't remember if he actually had strong spirit sense or it was suggested he had it before that. I just find it really funny that that was the point I realized that he might have had that and that it wasn't obvious before that. But the body one is kind of a misnomer because it, like, the body should be suggesting, really, who, not explicitly who, because it could be a person that's not controlled by the player, but the body should be suggesting who, the curse echo should be suggesting when, or this is like a really simplistic way of structuring it, right? The body should be suggesting who, the spirit echo should be suggesting when, and then the mind should be indicating what needs to be done, right? The player needs to go and do something. Sure. But ultimately, the clues we get are that it gives you an explicit clue in terms of the spirit echo, but it turns out that doesn't actually fucking matter. Like, the fact that the beckoning light is present in this part, there is no indication, unless you go back into this specific part to look at it, that it is there. So already, the fact that you know what the curse echo is associated with this, completely meaningless. Now, the mind thing is obviously interesting to think about, but is just incidental to the player. It doesn't ultimately push you in any direction as to what you need to be doing. Like, you need to be doing it. Of course you need to be doing it. But obviously, if that's a mystery, it's still a thing to churn over. And then the body is just someone with good spirit sense, which we've all been using curse bearers who are given spirit sense, and I don't think Shogo was ever mentioned to have spirit sense. So what I was talking about before in terms of reverse engineering it is like thinking about how I would have actually solved it, right? But the fact of the matter is that the hints that are given by the Yin scroll, which are really like, they are telling you the instructions for the rite of cleansing. This is explicitly in the universe of the game telling you how to do this. And it doesn't. I genuinely don't think those hints are helpful at all with trying to pry apart what the game is actually trying to do here. I genuinely think that's just not good. I feel like I had a more impactful point to make about that, but I think I waffled on too long and I've lost myself in it a bit. Yeah, I just don't think... I think the other major thing that demonstrates to me is the thing that majorly demonstrates to me is a thing we saw with Fancy Sushi, where the game is not good sometimes at doing the indicating what the meta thing you should be doing is. And I think the fact that this is the most boring and missable one, and that you could stumble upon it by chance, is incredibly bad. So yeah, mechanically it's not good. The game doesn't do a good job of actually leading you to it. What was my third thing? Fuck. Oh yeah, and then like the like post hoc explaining shit. And you shouldn't be doing that in the ending. Like, the outside of the mystery, once you actually get in there, is just the storyteller is telling you what the motivations of all the characters were. You don't find this out as a result of going back and finding, like, an alternate timeline and, like, talking to Yoko a bit more and realizing, oh my god, she was the one who did it. And then that leads you to go down to this, maybe this point and try and figure some more things out. Like, you don't unravel that mystery in the narrative. The storyteller, a contrived meta character, explains the plot to you. Like, in fact, there is something that would be kind of neat about it if you never actually got to see Yoko actually explain any of her thoughts, and it was, like, the tragedy and chance of just being killed in this way, right? But no, it does the thing where it actually explains everything to you in that. Sorry, I'm ranting myself into a thing and I'm becoming incoherent. The key thing I want to get across with this is I don't know if I don't know if I dislike this game because of the way it finished, but I will say that I am massively deflated about it. I think it demonstrates the key parts of the game it gets wrong, and it does it all in the ending, which is atrocious. The ending should be the culmination of these things, and I could forgive, like, earlier missteps with the meta aspects or the hints and stuff like that if it did the ending well. Because it's like, okay, you had the ending, and you knew how that was going to get set up. You misstepped earlier in the thing, but that's fine, right? But yeah, fumbling at the 1-yard line, exactly. Captain Exposition to the not rescue. Yeah, exactly. Like, it post hoc explains a bunch of shit in a really contrived way. It isn't good at actually telling you the things it wants you to solve, and it solves mysteries for you that I don't think it really needed to solve for you. So, like, where it's actually picking things to be a mystery is just off the mark entirely, and that also speaks to the way that you get to this by just looking in a certain scene and looking around. Like, it's so fucking arbitrary, dude. Like, it really is a cardinal sin that the game acknowledges the fact, yeah, you could have just gone there by chance. Like, fuck you, make it not by chance! You had the tools in the meta aspects you provided to already do that. But yeah, so it explains way too much that I don't think needs to be explained or should have been explained in the narrative. It's not very good at actually hinting and telling you what to do. And as for the meta aspects of this game, I genuinely think the meta things it introduces throughout the game is far more interesting than the ending meta thing, which mechanically is just, it's so bad. That is so bad that the most interesting thing that's done in the game with the meta aspect of it is earlier in the game. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. But I will say, the game also gave me Haraway, so obviously this is a 10 out of 10. Perfect, no notes. No, I genuinely think that this game is good, but man, is it disappointing. And that's such a weird position for me to be in, where it's just like, oh yeah, it's good. But, like, simultaneously, like, yeah, it's good. I think it's worth a playthrough. But also, like, Jesus Christ, it is really disappointing. Like, and I don't think it has a good handle on the things it tries to do with its meta thing. But yeah. What can you do? Oh, man. That's a shame. I was really excited to play the rest of this game and see what had actually happened. It's no Nocia. That is true. It is definitely no Nocia. Yeah, so, I did actually have a plan in case we did finish this early, and it turns out we have. So, we are going to squeeze an egg.